Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Swiss Future Impulse. My name is Marcel Alter, and I'm very glad you've joined us for this lunchtime session, whether you're dialing in from across Switzerland or from further afield. Thank you for being here and for taking this time to think about the future together. One quick practical note, if questions come to mind during the presentation, please drop them in the chat on LinkedIn or YouTube, and that's the best place for them. We'll collect everything and get as many questions as possible in our Q&A at the end. So, today's session takes us right to the heart of one of the most talked about tools in the global Foresight community, the World Economic Forum's Strategic Intelligence Platform. Our speaker, Sargun Lalia, leads digital business engagement at the World Economic Forum, where her mission is to help organizations build what she calls contextual intelligence, the capacity to make sense of a complex, fast-moving world and translate that understanding into better decisions. In today's session, Sargun will take us on a live demonstration of the Strategic Intelligence Platform, showing us how it works, what it can do, and perhaps most importantly for us as practitioners, how it might be useful in the real-world decision-making context. So, Sargun, it's a real pleasure to have you with us today. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Marcel. And once again, thank you everyone for joining us today. I'll go ahead and just share my screen so we're all looking at some really interesting pieces from strategic intelligence, and we can start to connect together on what some of these might be. But like Marcel said, I lead strategic intelligence business engagement here at the World Economic Forum, very specifically on helping organizations, helping professionals such as yourselves to really leverage our tools and leverage the work that we do with foresight, with intelligence, with really insights from across the world from reliable partners. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Marcel, can you confirm that you can see my slides?
Yeah, maybe you can do it in the presentation mode. So yeah, perfecto.
Perfect, great. So today we're going to be looking at strategic intelligence across some of our pillars. We have obviously strategic intelligence itself, our virtual program, as well as our masterclasses series. Then a quick note on impact. So really how Marcel said, helping you understand how you can actually apply this in your work. And then a quick note on how you can access our digital space. I'd really like to start with building strategic intelligence. So really to give you an introduction of what strategic intelligence means to us as a concept and what it means to us in terms of the tool and the platform itself. The strategic intelligence ecosystem is really geared towards helping professionals respond to accelerating complexity by allowing you to understand global issues in their full context. Strategic intelligence is really a suite of digital tools that leverages machine learning, expert networks, and systems thinking to help you make better strategic decisions by understanding the transformations that are taking place in your space, in your context, in your industries. Our vision is to really become your go-to resource to help you understand dynamic systems, global transformations, emerging trends, and potential future scenarios. We do this by giving you access to the most effective world expert analysis. We do this by also giving you insider access to some of our virtual events, programs, and expert briefings. And finally, we do this by helping you engage with foresight analysis to adapt your strategy to an ever-evolving industrial context. Our knowledge approach is obviously a little bit more complex than what I have here, but I really just wanted to give you an insight into how we're gathering sort of context, how we're really using the networks that we have access to help you build contextual intelligence. We do this by tapping into human intelligence through the forum's vast expert ecosystems and merging that with our in-house machine and artificial intelligence that we have developed and trained on reliable resources. And then we take these two forms of intelligence and marry them together to help you understand complex topics through a comprehensive dynamic visual framework that we call a transformation map. Then finally, our hope is that with this knowledge in these transformation maps, as well as some of our advanced features, you're able to really understand context around you and use that to build your strategic intelligence for future readiness, for your foresight strategies, as well as for your overall organizational resilience. I'll go into our demo segment now, just so we can look really at we can look at the platform together and we can see some of these features in action, let's say. For this, again, like Marcel said, if you have questions about the features, if you have questions about anything you see on screen, please write to us on LinkedIn and YouTube, and during the Q&A, we'll make sure to answer some of those to the best of our abilities. There we go. Here we are on strategic intelligence. Now that you have a little bit of our story, of our aim, you can really start to see some of this in action. Currently, we're really on the home page where you'll see some highlights from different topics that you can explore. So for example, technological revolutions might be relevant for some of you, energy transition, PFAS destructions, world models, so on and so forth. You'll also see some other types of interesting maps that are highlighted, or interesting topics that are highlighted for you. Again, based on your likes and preferences. Of course, I use this platform a lot, so it's a little bit tailored to me, but as you start to play around with it, you'll see that the homepage starts to represent your needs as well. But I think the best place to begin your journey on strategic intelligence is on our Discover tab. Think of Discover really as our knowledge repository, as our library of sorts where we house all of our topics. Currently, we have more than 300 topics in our system developed through this association between human intelligence and machine intelligence. And these topics span regions, industries, global issues, emerging technologies, so on and so forth. You're able to scroll through our library using the collections feature here on top. Collections really refer to thematic buckets. So if you're looking for something that's related to energy, you can look at the future of energy. If you're interested in the forum's newly published, really it went live this morning, our new top 10 emerging technologies report, you can scroll through that. If you're more interested in topics of industries, nature and climate, you have all of these organized here for you. You also have the ability to really just scroll through our entire library presented to you here in an alphabetical order and pick and choose what is interesting to you and click through what might be most relevant. And then finally, you can always search for a keyword that you're working on, that you're curious about, and see what we have. For today's conversation, I was really thinking we could look at what we have for strategic foresight on our platform. And you'll see here we have a bunch of different topics that the system gives to me. Again, for best use of time, I'll just start with our strategic foresight topic. And you'll see all you have to do is click the card or click the topic, and the system will navigate you to the transformation map on that topic. So now you can really see what these maps are, what this framework is that we use. So each of our 300 or so topics are presented in this form of visual, which we call transformation maps. And the aim of a transformation map is really to help you identify and visualize the transformations taking place in your space, the emerging trends, the key drivers in your topic of interest. So we're looking here at the strategic foresight map, and this has been curated specifically for our platform by the Institute for the Future, which I'm sure a lot of you know a lot better than I do. But the aim of each transformation map is to give you intelligence at 3 different levels. We're going to start here with the innermost level of knowledge, the heart of the topic. The heart of the topic really gives you very broad strokes, what is happening in the space, what can you expect, what are some major shifts in your topic of interest. Then we go into this second level of information, these nodes here that we call our key issues. These key issues have been identified, again, exclusively for our platform by our human experts from IFTF as the key pillars, the key developments, the main trends that you might face in your topic space. So for example, with strategic foresight, more and more now we're looking at how we can help organizations adapt to changing or evolving trends, how we can develop resilience in organizations as well as communities. We're looking at the speed of change, for example. We're also looking at democratization of futures. And of course, I think, again, you all know this better than me, we're also really grappling with how AI and machine learning is going to impact the future. So you'll see as I click through each of these key issues, I'm presented with quite a detailed analysis on that trend, once again written for us exclusively to help us understand sort of that main trend, to help us understand how it will evolve in the near to medium term future, and how you as organizations, as professionals, as individuals can better prepare for those shifts. Then finally, we have this outermost ring with these nodes that we call our related insight areas. Think of related insight areas as really our way of helping you uncover interconnections or intersections between your topic space and other thematic areas that might be impacting the work that you're doing. So for example, when we're thinking of the science of foresight, we're also looking at what kind of global risks we need to account for. We're also looking at trends in geopolitics, geoeconomics, economic growth. And in this case, if you see anything that's relevant to you, anything that is that you're interested in diving deeper into, you're able to click on that node. So here, just clicking on Future of Leadership, and the system navigates you to the transformation map on that topic. So you can start to imagine that it's really these system of maps that are connected to each other at this outermost level of intelligence. Going back to our original map for a second here, but everything that we've seen so far is really our human intelligence aspect. All of these curated pieces of content, the analysis, the insights, it is all developed by our human experts. But I also did mention that we have quite a powerful machine and artificial intelligence system that also accompanies our knowledge pieces. And what that does is, first and foremost, is that it pulls together publications, case studies, videos, data, etc. from our verified content partners and pushes it to relevant maps. So we currently have 400 verified content partners. These are publishing houses, universities, think tanks, institutions, organizations who we have done our due diligence on and only then are presenting their content here to you. Every day our system scans through over 1,000 pieces of content to then push them to our relevant maps. So that means that everything you see here, it's very dynamic. You'll see we have stuff come in just a day ago, a couple of days ago. So this is really a powerful way of sort of keeping in touch or keeping up to date with what is happening, what are the trends and shifts in your space. Everything you see here will be available to you. All you have to do is click through, you're able to open it to dive deeper, you can share it with colleagues, and you can even save it to come back to later. Another way that we surface our machine and artificial intelligence is through our advanced feature on briefings. This advanced feature pulls together the content that we have in the map. It also pulls together the content that we have coming through our content feed and performs a bit of a foresight analysis on this. This foresight analysis methodology that our machine and AI systems are trained on have actually been developed with foresight experts and practitioners across the world to really bring to you the most sort of reliable foresight knowledge and insight access. You'll see now the system is pulling together this content in real time and bringing together this PDF for you. Let's go ahead and look at this together here. So you'll see in a second that this is quite dynamic. This is a living, breathing feature. So it's generated for me on such and such date. So if I were to come back, say a week from now, a month from now, I will be able to sort of regenerate. The system will re-pull together what is latest at that point in time. Let's just scroll through. We have an executive summary, of course. We have an insights and trends section. Again, very powerful. It's pulling together the most sort of relevant trends for you to work with. And it also provides you with forecasts and potential scenarios. So what are sort of potential things that you might see unfold in the short to medium term future? And this can really help you anticipate change and make for better strategies internally as an organization, as a professional, and even in your private life. And for each of our forecasts, each of our scenarios, we also make sure to give you the references, again, to make sure that our users know where their content is coming from and they always have trustworthy material to fall back on. And then, of course, we go deeper into the context of the map itself. We go deeper into the trends and the key issues itself, which then you're able to read through. In this way, the PDF briefing feature acts as a really powerful knowledge tool, giving you access to really what's happening in your space overall. But it also acts as a really powerful foresight tool for you to help you assess, to help you anticipate change, to help you really be abreast of the emerging trends and use those to inform organizational resilience and future readiness goals. Going back to the platform a bit, just looking at the time, perfect, we do have some time together. I really want to take a couple moments to show you the create feature. Now create is really my personal favorite. It's what I use the most, and it's because it really gives you as the user the power to map out your own personal knowledge ecosystem, to create your own personal transformation map, to map out your niche, to visualize your intersections. You're able to do this from scratch, and again, this is one of our advanced features, but you're able to do this from scratch using the create button, or you can use it, use the help of our map assistant using the map assistant button, which again is developed by our based on our in-house machine and artificial intelligence. And here what I would do is tell the map what I'm looking for. For the sake of the demo, I'm just going to use a question, something like how is AI impacting the climate crisis and energy consumption? But a lot of times I've seen my colleagues, I've seen our users give a lot of very rich data and content in terms of what are you trying to explore, what are some intersections you want to map out, and of course, like with any generative AI model, the stronger the input, the stronger the output. But again, just using a really straightforward question for the sake of example for this session together. But now you've seen that in real time, the system has scanned my question, seen what I need, and produced a map tailored to my needs. It's given me the heart of the topic, this innermost level here as the description, which is completely editable. I can really delete the whole thing and start over. I can add my own context, I can make edits, and really start to make this map my own. And then it's also identified for me the key issues and the associated related insight areas. Now these key issues, they might already be what you need, but I would say use this as a skeleton, use this as a starting point. So maybe we're not necessarily interested in the need for net zero, maybe we need the scenarios more and that's a better use, but maybe you do want to look a little bit specifically on electricity grids. So I'm just going to search for that. And then you can sort of scroll through and see what you have there, maybe specifically decentralization of electricity systems. And then you can add that. So you can keep really editing your map to make it more tailored to your needs, to your intersection. Once your map is ready, and of course you're able to come back and edit this at any time, you can also create multiple maps if you have our advanced access. But once it's ready, you're able to really use this map as a bit of a personal compass, as a bit of a personal monitor. And please note that all of this content is totally protected. So everything you put in here, every sort of piece of content you share here is completely protected. This map only lives in your space And even myself in the back end, I can't access the content that you have put in. So your material is really, really protected. And now, like I said, you can start to interact with this map as a forum map. You can read sort of the heart of the topic. You can interact with each of these expertly curated key issues that have now been put together in one place for you. And you now have a tailored content feed that is pulling together content relevant to your intersection, relevant to what you are trying to explore. In this way, I think this is also why it's my favorite feature, right? Because it really becomes a personal partner, a personal sort of monitor of sorts, where you can keep abreast of what is happening in your space and what are some developments in the work that you are doing. With that in mind, I'm just gonna go back to our slides. I just want to also take a moment to show you some of our other features or other pillars, other advanced sort of features that you can access with strategic intelligence. So just going to take a moment to pull up the slides again. Oops. Great. Marcel, can you confirm you are seeing my slides?
Yes.
Fantastic. So we just went through the demo and just quickly highlighting some of the things that we saw. But with strategic intelligence, you can unpack and get a 360-degree understanding of a complex topics. You can zoom in and identify specific publications, content to go deeper into your areas of interest. You're also able to zoom out and see how your topic is connected with developments taking place in other contexts. You can customize and monitor developments in your areas of interest using our Create feature. And you're also able to export key foresight analysis, including emerging trends, forecasts, and potential scenarios through our briefing feature, and even share them with your colleagues. However, we do have a couple more pillars through our advanced access that you can benefit from on strategic intelligence, one of which is our virtual program. The World Economic Forum's virtual program gives you exclusive year-round access to our live digital events, expert-led sessions, and panel discussions on global issues. Designed for digital audiences, our aim is to give you a front-row seat to conversations with thought leaders, practitioners, industry experts across select forum events, as well as through curated virtual sessions across the year. Topics really span a range of themes like emerging technologies, geopolitics. We have a lot of things on Foresight as well, and so on and so forth. This is just a screenshot I took this morning of what our calendar is looking like right now. Actually, since I took this screenshot, we've already added a couple more sessions in August already. But really, this is to show you that we're constantly organizing these sessions for you to hear from experts, which you can obviously join live, and you can also watch them on demand later through our advanced access. And as we go forward, our calendar tends to fill out, and we normally do have 2 to 3 sessions per month, as you can see here. And then finally, to our third pillar of digital engagement, our masterclasses. These masterclasses are really aimed at helping you develop skills or practical tools on a diverse range of topics that we have curated with leading practitioners and experts from our network. Each masterclass is composed of a few modules in a self-contained timeline that you can complete at your own pace, and it's available for you on demand. And again, with advanced access to masterclasses, as you complete a masterclass, you also receive a certificate of completion, which you can share on your personal profiles, on LinkedIn, etc. I've just highlighted here a current sort of some masterclasses that are currently live that I thought might be relevant to this group. We have one on strategic foresight. I think we have a couple on foresight now. We have something on AI-driven leadership, geopolitical risks, etc. And this is just an example of what the certificate would look like as you complete a masterclass. And then finally, I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you about some ways that people are using our platform and the impact they can make using strategic intelligence. The first is really horizon scanning and market intelligence. So using our transformation maps, using our content feed, using all of these insights, you're able to really perform quite thorough horizon scans and market sort of market and business intelligence researches to help you inform decision making. You can also, especially with our Foresight briefings, perform quite a thorough risk analysis and access Foresight knowledge, including emerging trends, risks, and their potential impact on your organization, on your work that you do. You can use all of this content, leverage the knowledge and expert briefings to develop and test your strategies. You can, of course, use strategic intelligence to share your knowledge as well. You can download the briefings, you can share them with colleagues, and if people you know have advanced access as well, you can also work on the tool quite collaboratively. You can use the masterclasses for training and development purposes, and of course you also get very thorough event insights through our expert briefings and virtual program. And then of course you can use all of this content to inform your own thought leadership and develop your own sort of positioning as an expert across topics. Finally, just a quick note on access. So strategic intelligence and our maps in terms of the knowledge are publicly available for everyone. However, our advanced features are paywalled. SwissFuture's members, through our partnership, can avail 2 complimentary months advanced access to the strategic intelligence digital ecosystem. There are some details there that one of Marcel, George, or myself will share with you in the coming days to how you can actually access this and how you can set up your advanced accounts. Finally, I'll stop here. Thank you so much for your time, for your attention, for coming along this journey with me, and hopefully you can really start to leverage strategic intelligence in your future-ready strategies, in your foresight work, and in your efforts towards organizational resilience. Thank you, and we'll maybe open for questions now, if that's okay.
Super. What a timing, Sargun. Oh, super. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Maybe George has already collected some questions. Until that, I'd like to ask, I have a few questions actually myself. But first, thank you for that presentation. It's really impressive.
Thank you.
And I guess it's, it helps a lot when you do the foresight work, or can help a lot when you do foresight work. So one question came to my mind that was the platform you said is co-curated by experts from academia, think tanks, international organizations, the IFTF, etc. But as far as I know, WEF membership is dominated by large corporations and state institutions. So the voices deciding what counts as a signal, I guess, are filtered through this network before anything goes public. So my question would be, what mechanisms do you have that ensure that communities that are not at the table, from the global south or informal economies, how they can shape the platform's outputs rather than simply inheriting the worldview of those already at the table?
Absolutely. So first of all, in terms of large corporations and governments, actually none of our content is curated with them. Our content is curated specifically, the maps especially. When I say our human intelligence piece, we're referring to universities, we're referring to independent think tanks and research organizations, and we're referring to international organizations like the United Nations. We have some work with the International Organization for Migration, and we're working with really these kinds of organizations that are tailored towards presenting expert, non-partisan knowledge. So we're very, very mindful in making sure that we have representation in these categories from different countries, different linguistic regions, from different sort of geographies as well.
Okay.
So through that already we make sure that our content is non-biased, non-partisan, and is not promoting vested interests. So even our large organizations that are forum members, they also consume this knowledge that we bring from objective experts. They are not able to tell us what to publish either. And I think that's very powerful. I think that is something that we've fought to keep because we want to make sure that our information is really representative of the truth, representative of reality, and is not representative of or is not influenced by any vested interests. In the content feed then, so far we're talking about the human curated maps. In the content feed itself, you will see that there are publications from private sector as well. I think we saw together there was some private sector organization reports. Here, we do invite published materials from different types of organizations. However, the caveat is that it must be white papers or published research. So you will never see any sort of op-eds there. You will never see any sort of opinion pieces there. These are pieces that are rooted in research. And before we feature any members or any content partner on our website, they go through thorough processes of due diligence, and we ensure that their content is actually aligned with our community values of honesty, transparency, and research orientatedness or research orientation. So you'll always be sure that the content that is coming is trustworthy, truthful, and verified. In terms of informing, I'll say a quick note. In terms of informing what you see, we have quite an active sort of email. It's intelligence@weforum.org. You can also find it very publicly available, which my team monitors. If you ever think that something is not representative of the truth or something is missing even, you're able to write to us and send us your feedback. And I can assure you that we take our user feedback very seriously, and we incorporate some of those feedback into our content cycles to see what new content to publish, what kind of content to publish. So yes, and if you do work for organizations that are doing research, that are publishing white papers and research-oriented content, and if you are a member of Swiss Futures, please write to myself, Marcel, or George, and we will connect between the three of us to see if there are opportunities to feature your organization's research work on strategic intelligence as well. Sorry, okay. Marcel, that was a long-winded answer, but
it's okay. That's fine for me. George, did you collect any questions from the feed?
Hi together, Sargun. Thank you very much for your presentation. I don't have any questions at the moment. We do have a technical issue, so maybe that's one of the reasons. So please go on, you too, and we are curious to hear the questions and the answers.
Okay, I have a lot. So
perfect.
Maybe along the same line. I mean, scenarios are at the very heart of what we do usually with customers, but which scenarios get modeled is never ever a neutral choice. So scenarios that include degrowth or post-capitalist models or radical redistribution of goods rarely appear as serious options in mainstream Foresight work, including, I guess, the WEF publications. So the question is, can you name a strategic intelligence scenario that explore the future structurally disadvantage to WEF member organizations? And if not, how to ensure the platform isn't narrowing the future to what its funders find, how should I say that, acceptable? Let's put it that way.
Wow, that honestly is a very interesting question. And to answer that properly, maybe I'll go back to the platform. And maybe, Marcel, before I answer the question, you and I can do a little bit of an exercise together. Since I do have you with me and you are a Foresight expert more than myself, maybe you and I can generate a briefing together and see what comes up and discuss that. And then I can comment on the methodology itself in terms of how we're trying to avoid biases. Does that sound like a good plan?
Absolutely.
Great. I'm trying to think what kind of topic to take, but maybe advanced energy solutions. It says it's a new map. Maybe we can try it out?
Go for it.
Great. Okay, so advanced energy solutions. Maybe not. Maybe I use energy transition. Actually, I like it. It's a bit richer, I think. Okay, let me try to generate this briefing. And while the system pulls together the briefing, I can tell you a little bit about the methodology. So we have Foresight analysis methodologies inbuilt into our AI system. And these methodologies itself, in terms of how to identify a scenario or how frequently something needs to be mentioned for it to be an emerging trend, all of those things have been developed with the Forum's Global Foresight Network, which is a community of foresight experts from across the globe, from different organizations, different sectors, etc. So that's where our methodology comes from. Apologies, I'm not a foresight expert myself, so I don't know very well the specifications, but I do know that that's how they were developed. That's how they were developed, so to say. Share this tab. Okay. And what the system does is, then after we've given it the methodology, it's a little bit, we hope it's a little bit less biased, because now it's taking all of the content that's coming in through the map, through the content feed, which I already shared is very strict in terms of who we bring in as content partners. But then the system analyzes all of that content and then performs those methodologies on that content to extract signals. So in that way, because there is obviously an expert verified methodology, but really a machine doing the scanning across content without a preference for one type of content over the other, we do believe that it is more neutral than not. However, like you rightly pointed out, these are not perfect solutions. There's always, biases that creep in even in machines. However, we are trying to actively monitor any sort of hallucinations. We are trying to actively monitor what kind of content we're putting out there. But this is what we generated for energy transition. Here again, like I said, the system has identified insights and trends for you to help you understand, to help you monitor, to help you anticipate some emerging trends in this topic. So right now we're looking at energy transition. You'll see that when a trend is identified for you, it's also hyperlinked for you. Again, really with that effort to ensure that you know where your content is coming from, so that you know that this is from a reliable source or a source that you can use. So we always make sure to do that. And then for the scenarios itself, I'll just scroll past the forecasts because it's pretty similar to the emerging trends in terms of the methodology and the hyperlinks. Oh, great. I did not generate the scenarios here. Apologies for that. But for our scenarios, you'll see that all of our scenarios are developed around a matrix. So it takes two critical issues for the topic in question. It takes the two most critical issues and develops 4 scenarios in that sort of matrix, in that 2x2 matrix.
But I cannot do that myself. I mean, that's the choice maybe I want to do myself.
Yes, that is not possible. It is generated by the machine, and it's generated across those principles that I mentioned.
Okay.
But yes, you're not able to pick and choose. But maybe this is a good feature, actually. I'll definitely take that back to our product team in terms of how we can start to collect user feedback or help them identify what type of critical structures they want to explore or critical sort of elements they want to explore in these matrices. Actually, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, totally agree. In my experience, it's not a fully, completely, total, rational process. And it's not about finding the right axis.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of intuition, experience, knowledge, rating the trends that ends up in defining 2 axes and then generating the world, the scenarios out of these constellations, so to speak.
Absolutely. And I think working with a machine, it's never perfect. I will not lie, but we are trying our best to make sure that it is more neutral than prescriptive, so that it can give you what the machine thinks with the content that is being published across the world, what might happen, but we don't give you a value judgment of, oh, this is what you should do versus not. Because again, like you said, everybody has their own set of expertise that they are applying to their area of work. So we want to give them the content or the knowledge that they can then use to apply it to their personal scenarios or their personal sort of work.
Okay. Maybe another question that came up to my mind is that kind of epistemic AI risk. So the platform you said uses AI to process over, I think it was 1,000 articles per day and identify patterns. But AI trained on existing texts inherit usually the blind spots and assumptions already embedded in the mainstream discourse of today. So how, if at all, does the platform prevent AI from amplifying current mainstream assumptions and blind spot and making uncertain futures appear more inevitable than they actually are?
Absolutely. So we have two ways that we're trying to counter this. The one is on the side of the content partner, and the one is on the side of us. On the side of the content partner, when there is material that they are pushing to our platform, we ask them to provide a summary, and we also ask them to flag the content. So this is an AI piece that I have published, but in addition to AI, it also touches upon geopolitical risk. Very specifically, it's talking about the conflict in India, for example. So they tag it. So in that way, we're trying to already identify what some human leanings are with the content. Then the system will flag it on its own and see what it extracts. And then at that point, we actually have human moderators. So we have my colleagues who monitor all of these flags, who monitor where the content is moving, what's being pushed, to then, again, ensure that and these are like content experts, so these are people who can then sort of weed out any sort of, extra weightage and can ensure that it is indeed as reliable as we can hope for it to be.
Yeah, we are all unreliable by nature. So, maybe another one goes a little bit along a similar line. So, I mean, the WEF openly states that advanced foresight involves shaping narratives. When an institution of the WEF's reach publishes scenarios, it doesn't just anticipate futures, it just by its importance influences which futures seem plausible to investors or policymakers, and thereby helps bring them about. So the question is, where exactly do you draw the line between foresight and agenda setting, and what makes that boundary visible to the governments or organizations relying on that platform?
Sure. That's actually a great question, and one I'm not sure I'm totally equipped to answer, but I will try my best. First of all, in terms of the reports that we publish, even with our partner organizations, are anchored in research, are anchored in quantitative as well as qualitative methodologies in terms of our reports that you'll see published on our platform. In terms of partner content that they are publishing independently, that's not something that we have any say over, any control over, so I can't necessarily comment on that. But the work that we are doing, we ensure that we have very, very thorough and very robust research methodologies that we adopt. And like I said, this includes both quantitative methodologies as well as qualitative methodologies. So we do hope that just by nature of using representative samples, representative information, that we're able to reduce, any sort of biases already. And we do always encourage, or we do always also disclaim that, these are pieces that are based on our research. They are not necessarily predictions, which I feel like none of us are equipped to do. So that is one way to do it. The second is that actually across the forum, we also have multiple ways of bringing diverse voices to the table. We have communities dedicated to academia, communities dedicated to arts and cultures, communities dedicated to small businesses, to startups, to industry disruptors as well. And in this way, we try to bring together voices that feel that would maybe feel like they wouldn't necessarily have a space at the forum. They definitely have a space to come through and to give their voice and to give their opinion as well. So we make sure that we're incorporating different demographies, different market segments, different company sizes, different languages as well. So through these two mechanisms, we're hoping that we are drawing that line, and we are sort of pushing that this is research rather than any sort of diagnoses or predictions.
Okay. We try. We
try. We do try.
Yeah. Maybe one last question that's
Absolutely.
one that I get asked from time to time. It's kind of a mean one, and I apply it now to the WEF. So, I mean, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID-19, the rise of generative AI, none were anticipated in time to prevent serious harm. So, the WEF, we, as a community, now frame these misses as arguments for more agile, whatever that means, continuous foresight, essentially using past failures to justify expanded investments in the same approach. So the question is, has the WEF published a kind of systematic retrospective of what Foresight failed to flag? And if the future is simply too unpredictable, doesn't that undermine the authority with which you sell strategic intelligence? I get asked the same question, so don't worry.
This is a very good question. In terms of, is the future too unpredictable to predict? I would defer to you. Again, I'm not a foresight expert in any shape or form. But I think everything is impossible if we don't try. I think at the forum, specifically on the Foresight, we have some incredible people who are putting together the Global Foresight Network that is representative of foresight experts from different regions, different sectors, different industries. And the aim there is to really bring together these set of experts to be able to inform how we use foresight. What is the best way to inject strategic foresight into organizations, into communities, and not necessarily to tell them what to do, but rather to tell them how can we be more future-oriented, more future-ready. So I think that already is one way to try, where our effort is not to sell something to reach a means, but it's rather to give you methodologies, to give you tools that equip you for the future, rather than telling you what to do. And again, all of our content is public information. We don't paywall it. All of our reports, even all of the reports that our foresight experts from this network contribute to, are all available on the forum's website, because we really do believe that this knowledge is power, and it's knowledge that everyone should and can use to then develop out their own strategies. Again, nothing is a perfect solution, but our aim is to really, like I said, not tell you what to do, but give you the tools that you know how you can do something.
Yeah, that's usually an answer I give as well. So, yeah, most probably we are not perfect, but doing nothing is certainly not the most intelligent solution at all. So,
Exactly.
well, we might fail, but it's all we can do is try. George, any more questions from the feed?
There's one question. It's more about clarifying a thing. A listener wants to know, as a user, would it be possible to manually add signals to the platform besides the curated content that's already there?
So right now we don't have this capability. However, we are developing our own product roadmap as well to see how we can actually let users take control a little bit more and interact a little bit more actively. So unfortunately not yet, but stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're already 4 minutes over 1 hour. What else? Any more questions?
Not from my side, but I would like to thank you very much. Sargun was very
Thank
interesting.
you.
Thank you, Marcel. A very interesting discussion about the general issues with Foresight and future work. I want to mention again that we have a special offer for all members of Swiss Future that can use the Pro version. Is it the right term? The
Exactly.
Pro version for 2 months. It has to be applied before July 31.
And George, I'll let you email out the members the code and the steps, or
We will do that. We will do that. Please write to info@swissfuture.ch and we will send you all the guidelines to get to the platform.
perfect, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
hopefully you can all start this strategic intelligence journey. And always feel free to write to us at intelligence.weforum.org.
Very good. Sargun, thank
you.
you and have a bright
Thank you,
future.
Sargun.
Thank
Have a great
you.
day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, both. Thank you so much.